This is an interview with my friend Amina on Expat life in Saudi Arabia. So, Amina, I will ask you a few questions. I will give you my answer first, and then you give me yours. So, the first question is, how did you find the transition from the USA to Saudi Arabia? So, first, my answer. I didn't experience a culture shock because, alhamdulillah, we're Muslim and we're coming to a Muslim country. So it was sort of like coming home. That's what it felt like. And what about you?
There wasn't a big change per se, but I would say I did feel more comfortable and more at home here than I did in the States.
Okay, the next question is, what do you enjoy most about living in Saudi Arabia? Like for me, I feel more free as a Muslim in Saudi Arabia. For example, we're so close to Mecca and Medina, and there's halal food available everywhere, and there are locally made Saudi products that we can buy and support Muslim industries. What about you?
What I mostly enjoy is the halal food, like you said, transport safety. Women are very safe here. I can walk out any time of the day and no one is bothering me, no one's saying anything to me. I feel very safe as a female here.
Okay, the next question is, how does practicing Islam in Saudi Arabia compare with the United States? Now, with me, I'm from South Africa, and alhamdulillah, back home, we have religious freedom. And practicing Islam in South Africa is the same, I would say, as someone practicing Islam in a Muslim country. For example, the adhan is called out aloud from a masjid, and we have halal food, alhamdulillah, and we even have companies that certify products before we buy them, so that we are sure that we are purchasing halal food. And women and men are allowed to dress Islamically. A lady can wear hijab, nobody will stop her, nobody will trouble her, she's even allowed to work with hijab. What about you? How is it in the US?
Practicing Islam here, I would say, is a lot easier than the States. With the States, I've never, alhamdulillah, experienced Islamophobia or anything like that, but I would say I feel more comfortable wearing hijab here, where I don't get too much stares as I did in the States. I felt like I can speak more here than I did in the States. So alhamdulillah, I feel like practicing Islam was a lot easier here than in the United States.
Alhamdulillah. The next question is, what challenges have you faced as an expat in Saudi Arabia? As for me, my biggest challenge was leaving my family behind. And throughout my life, I was always with my parents, mom and dad. I never ever left them. Actually, I'm not an only child. People think I'm an only child, but I'm not. I have an older brother and a sister who are old enough to be my parents. Alhamdulillah, Allah bless them. And can you tell me, what challenges have you faced as an expat?
Missing my family as well. I really, really miss them. So I think that was the toughest part for me, being away from for this far and being away from it for almost a year now.
Subhanallah. Can you describe how religious freedom in Saudi Arabia differs from that in the USA?
I think I touched on it before. I feel a lot more safe here. Wearing hijab is a lot easier. I even tried the niqab for like the first few months. I felt more beautiful than I ever did. It was a nice feeling, but again, it's a little challenging to wear it back in the States. But alhamdulillah, I would say I feel a lot more at ease here.
The next question is, what advice would you give to other expats considering moving to Saudi Arabia? So I would say, from my perspective, is that they should be open-minded, especially if they are not Muslim or coming from a different background, a different culture, to be respectful of the culture here and the laws, because the people here are very conservative. They follow Islamic culture and Islamic morals.
I agree with everything you just said. I would say if you are not of the same faith or not Muslim, then I would say just be mindful of the religion and be mindful of the laws here. But if you are Muslim, I would say it's a lot easier to transition because again, you're Muslim, you'll hear the adhan everywhere, you'll be able to pray everywhere. It's a lot easier.
That's amazing. You know, I've seen people just lay their prayer mats down anywhere, whether it's a grocery store, the street, and they just lay their prayer mats down and they pray. I've never seen that people do that in South Africa either. Have you seen that in the US?
Never.
No.
And also having masjids in malls is huge. I was like, I've never been to a mall. I always had to be mindful of the prayer time and say, I have to leave, or I can't leave before Maghrib because I won't be able to find somewhere to pray. But here it's like, you can go out, you can hang out with your friends and still find a masjid to pray in.
Alhamdulillah. So, have you found it easy to connect with other expats or locals in Saudi Arabia?
Most of my friends are expats and they're my besties. But alhamdulillah, I would say. And then the locals, it's nice. I've met a few that have even invited me to their home. I've also been to my first Saudi wedding now, alhamdulillah. So I made it.
With me, not much people know this, but South Africa is known as a rainbow nation. We are people who come from different cultures and different backgrounds and different ethnicities from all over the world. And I never knew that it could get more mixed than that. When I came to Saudi Arabia, I met people from different cultures, from various different backgrounds, more than I did in South Africa. I've made friends from Jordan, Palestine, even from Lebanon, the US and Somalia, of course, and Sudan. Subhanallah, such amazing people. And what do you miss most about the United States?
I just miss my family. I really just miss my family. And that's it. What about you?
With me, yes, of course. The only people I miss is family. My mom and dad the most. I call them like 10 times a day, video call, because I feel like my day cannot pass without seeing them smile. And what I miss from South Africa is the nature. Like, we have a lot of greenery, we have trees, we have lush green grass, we have waterfalls and dams. And as you're driving over the freeway, you see all of this as you're driving past. And I think living there, you take all of this for granted because you don't actually see that in here. Like, I see like sand and camels, dust. Yes, and the dust is like, sometimes there are sandstorms. So yes, that's what I miss about South Africa. But there are some things that I don't miss about South Africa. Like back home, we have something called load shedding.
What's that?
So load shedding is when the electricity is cut off for a few hours every day. And sometimes there's water shedding where the water is cut off for some time, for a few hours. And yeah, that's what I don't miss, of course, So yeah, but overall, alhamdulillah, it's good being Saudi Arabia. Yeah, thank you, Amina, for your time.
Thank you.
Love you. You're an amazing friend.